हरे कृष्ण। पवद्यमानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकैः चक्षुरुन्मीलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नाम्नि नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा. So wish you very happy English New Year. So here we are trying to discuss about how the about the universal creation happens. But before that, I have one more important topic for all of you. As our so here, actually, I have Telugu classes, so in that I'm discussing about Nishkam Karma Yoga. With that, I'll share some of the points with you also. It is very helpful to get this understanding how to exactly see, understand, because this will help us to act properly in this world. Like Krishna is telling this, if you understand this verse, it's actually very hard. What Krishna is telling, Karmanya Vadikaraste Ma Phaleshu Kadachana. Like this, nobody can say directly in this world. Only Krishna is telling. What does it mean? That he says you have right or qualification to engage in activity, but fruits of your labor do not belong to you. That means salary don't belong to me if I work. That you need to be so brave to speak this. They say to people that you can engage in activity, you must engage in activity, but do not be attached to the fruits of your labor. So, what does it mean exactly? We'll try to understand. It's actually very revolutionary, completely revolutionary understanding concept. In this world, this does not happen. Like, why does a person act? Because he want to enjoy the fruits of his labor. That is the only reason why I'm acting. Now, even if you take small children also, why do they act? If like they do not, will not see any person who is acting without expecting any results. Like small children, they do some drawing, and immediately they bring to us and they show. See, Krishna, and what we have to say. Oh, very nice, so beautiful. Because if it wasn't, who would they because this is false ego is happy at the same time, and you are doing, because if wasn't someone who is, nobody will do any activity. And like because we have very specific incentive to act, and this particular incentive is simply I want to enjoy the work that has come to pass. That's all. Now, the false ego feeds on this sensation. What is the sensation? I created. I am the created. So that's how the false ego is nourished for all of you who are conditioned. Liberated people, that does not nourish them. Now, if we are not the creators, but everyone is proud that he has created, and try not to praise, like Mataji is nicely cooking at home and you did not praise, or Prabhuji did something and you did not praise, then next time something else will happen. Because, of course, it is important we appreciate. I am not denying that. But the point is that is what is keeping us, nourishing us. And each person is very nicely nourished. The essence of this pride comes down to the fact that I did it. Even if I did a little bit. I still want to somehow involve in this. Like one most common form of enjoying the fruits of one's labor is where we want to take the credit. And it's not talking about some bad things, but especially some decent things also we want to be accomplished. Like I gave class, I want to be known that okay, he gives class. Now, what is now here this most important thing? Krishna is telling that Mahaphaleshu Kadashana, do not own the fruits. Do not try. These are actually worse than death for somebody because our false ego feeds on this. And I cannot own only. If you stop feeding this, then we won't do anything. We'll stop acting. That's all. If I say, okay, after the class, nobody will say that you have given class. I say, why should I give class? Like I cook. And then what happens is I have to give to somebody else. They will eat. I will not eat. And they will also not appreciate that you have done. Means you will not get the, nobody will know that you have made and you are not going to eat. But you have to make. So why should I make? Somebody should know that I have made at least. Okay, even if I don't enjoy what I cooked, some nice feast I have made, even I am not enjoying the feast, at least people should know that I made. But no, 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 you will not get that credit also. then, uh, then there are two alternatives. They praise me for it, or I get something in return. If I get something that gives me pleasure, then only I do it. And the second alternative, if no, I am not praised, I will not act. So I will not act for the sake of uh, that is now Krishna is giving one more important. He says this is what you have to remember. Krishna says you must act, you must not be inactive, nor you should enjoy the fruits of labor. And how can this be demanded? Our mind, Krishna is absolute. Why Krishna is able to demand this? This is another very important thing to understand. Also, one more extra one. Krishna is able to demand because he is absolutely free. Krishna is not hesitating to say what he considers the truth is because he is not attached. That's why he is able to tell the truth. Why sadhus can tell the truth? Because they are not attached. That is how they can tell because they are thinking of our well-being. That's why they can tell the truth, even though it is very bitter. They don't mind. This is okay, let it be. Whoever hears, let them get benefited. Why should I speak? Because Krishna is so direct. Because now who else will tell? So, like, is independent of any other person's opinion about what I think, what is right. He does not try to introduce all this into the framework of indirect preaching. Krishna is not doing any indirect preaching. He is just directly telling. He is not, Krishna is not upset. Krishna is not afraid to tell the truth for one reason because he is very detached. He says, I'm very upset. You spoke like this. Krishna says, but what can I do? That is what is the truth. He can tell the truth in order to give us, to help us actually. And Krishna does not tell us, if Krishna does not tell the truth, then who will tell? There is nobody who can tell the truth. Only person who can tell Krishna and his devotees. And his devotees do some indirect preaching, but Krishna does not indirect preaching, he is direct. If we accept and indirectly to preach, then we will never know what he wants us to tell. Because already Vyas Maharshi is trying to do indirect preaching and Narada Muni comes and says, Array, enough of it. No, directly tell what is the truth. Why you are writing so many hundreds and hundreds of books which are all indirect, indirect, indirect. Just write one book which is direct. Then he writes Bhagavatam, right? So here Krishna also is very direct. He does not. Of course, Bhagavad Gita he is indirectly, it's not even indirect, but you can see he has covered many topics because he want to tell some particular topic. And in that he becomes direct also. Very simple, unpleasant thing for our false ego. That no, 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 you cannot take the fruits of your labor. The only right strategy in this world is to act, is not to be dependent on your fruits. That is the strategy of acting in this world. We will see, because Prabhupada also says that if a person acts and is programmed to enjoy the fruits of his labor, sooner or later, everything will come opposite only for him. This is what is happening. See, if a person is enjoying, he's always afraid that I should not hear a bad news. He's like, I have seen also some people, the children are going out, grandchildren going out. They're so cautious. Go carefully. No, do this carefully. Do this carefully. This carefully. Because they're so attached, they're always afraid, because they think they have created such a big empire. Nothing should happen to them. Nothing. Everything should be so careful. They're calling 10 times here, there, because they became very miserable in that way. If you're detached, then it's okay, whatever Krishna wants will happen. So that's what it is telling. If you are programming yourself, if you act in a and is programmed to enjoy the fruits, life is very miserable, even though it looks like more you are taking. Like it is not us also, even materialistic people understand this. Like I was when devotee kept the state that Israel country is occupying more and more land, and more they are occupying, they are increasing their enemies, and it is causing. They thinking by having more land will be secure, but because they are taking more land from other countries nearby, they are creating more and more enemies. This is actually how the world works here. If you try to enjoy more and more and more, then we end up in more and more and more misery. This is यही संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयो न एवते. That's the formula in this world. You touch sense gratification, you have to pay for it. Dukkhayo na evate. It is already born. Like we enjoy, I have so much nice food to eat all the time. But very soon my system will get damaged and I have to pay for it in the hospital. Even though I do some workouts and this that I enjoy, but there is a payment also. It does not come free. Maybe I have done some bias activity. The strength senses are quite strong, they can maintain, but it is not going to last long. So the question, but we have to depend on higher fruit and not fruits of this world. Some things one has to desire either of this world or spiritual world, because without this, not be motivated to perform anything. I will come to this point. First, let me complete what is Krishna's understanding. I will answer your question also. Like it is said that there is a Russian proverb. They thought the best, but it turned out as always. That means not very good. Now there is when we achieve all this desires, the dream of an idiot came true. That's what there is one saying. A man is chasing, but there is a now you please just pay attention for a few minutes, understand this very important point. We are now in the like what is Krishna is telling, that we cannot sit silently also. It seems that okay, I will not be inaction, but inaction is sinful. That's what Krishna is telling. Trying to do nothing, it is impossible. Like say you are completely inactive and person is lying on the bed. After waking up, after so long time, what he will say that I am very tired. Array, you are getting up from the bed and you are feeling tired. That means what? You have already performed an activity. The activity is because it is not possible. Maybe half day a person is sleeping and then they say acted, I worked. That means a person is sitting also, but his mind is acting. He is feeling very tired sitting. So man cannot do anything. It is not possible. He does something all the time. He is active in nature. So there are people or philosophers who say That activity is the disease of soul. That in a healthy state, the soul does not work. In a uh, in a patient, she acts. Uh, if you are a patient, you will not act. But if you are healthy, you will act. That is what is our understanding. Soul is active. Now, the body is shackled with the that are in this body. This is a terrible thing that put on the soul. A large armor. This is our armor. It's a kind of little soul, and there are many things allotted it, putting it down. She wants to travel, but he cannot. Now she is attached. She does not, the soul is attached, does not have a passport. He cannot get out of this. That is the problem. Now, in order for the soul to enjoy, the soul should experience happiness, which belongs to the nature. Now, now this is I'm coming to the point. Just now here, this is the most, this one you remember, that's all. Like Prabhupada also says and Krishna says that the very moment when a person begins to think that everything depends on him, one who is attached to the fruits becomes the cause of action. Please understand this point. As soon as we think that everything depends on me, then we become the cause of action. This is a very important thing to understand. If you don't think you are the cause, then it does not depend on you. If you think, it depends. The very important phrase to think about. Like in the 18th chapter, Krishna is telling there are five reasons for action, right? And one of them is soul. And soul is certainly cause. But unfortunately, when a person is attached to the his labor, he considers the reason for action only himself. Then he does not take into account other factor. It all depends on him. So then what happens is he becomes the cause of action. That's how it happens. Like now, if you imagine that there the whole world, everything is depending on me, it will be very miserable for us to accept it. We say, no, no, I don't want it. But this false idea, everything depends on me. Like a person lives obsessed with these ideas that everything depends on me. He becomes active. He neglects all other four reasons. Then what happens? He has to pay for all these things. And unfortunately, they use this wrong philosophy. Now, say, like what happens is if I start thinking I am the doer, then I become the cause. You're understanding this point? If I accept, okay, this no, I only did. But what happens now? Along with that, there are all the consequences also I had to take, whatever comes. And all the consequences are not always good. That is another problem. So this is all, I am not talking of bhakti only. I'm just talking Nishkam Karma Yoga. So bhakti is much more higher than this. Even in a normal level, if I think I am the doer, finish. You have to take the positive and negative consequences of it. Like there is a story which I told also. This is a very interesting story. There is a Brahmana who planted nice garden. He developed it and then he studied philosophy, Upanishads. So he knows all philosophy. And it is said that if you want to be happy, so there are so many. So he made a nice garden. So one day, what happened? One cow comes and starts eating in his garden, and then he make it go away, he takes a stone and throws it the cow. Suddenly it hits the cow eyes and unfortunately the cow dies. Now he understood that it's such a sinful thing that to kill cow, especially in India, we know how sinful it is to kill cow. Brahma Hatya, it is like killing a Brahmana, such a terrible thing. And then then what happens is it was a horror. Then he understood and he did try to do some prayaschitta here, that, but it does not work. So at the end of life, Yamadutas come and they say, Chalo, now you have killed a cow. For you, hell is awaiting. Then he said, oh, wait a minute. How can you take me? That I am a spirit soul. I can never act. Soul does not act. He has completed Bhakti Shastri, so he understood. I cannot act only. And he says that what is acting? Action is done by Prakriti. Prakriti Kriyamana. I am not the actor. I am just a spirit soul. How can I act? Body is moving because of Prakriti. How you punish the Prakriti or the hand? Why are you taking me? And then the Yamadutas, they did not study Bhakti Shastri, so they could not easily understand the things. They thought, yeah, it makes sense. So they go to Yamaraj and says that this person he has very nicely studied, so he's telling he's not the doer only. Prakriti is the cause, and he's not the cause. So how should we do it? Yamaraj says, don't worry, I know how to deal with such situation. I'll teach you. Come with me. And Emeraj, he became an old Brahmana. He goes to that and he looks at the garden. He says, wow, such a nice garden. And then this Brahmana comes and says, yeah, I only made it. No, no, no. How is it possible? You cannot. No, no, no. I only made it. And what about this tree? Yeah, I brought it from here. About this tree, I made this, I made that. And then the old Brahmana who's Emeraj, he asks, then who killed the cow? So this is the point. That means when we take credit, then you have to pay for the consequences. If you did not take, if you didn't enjoy, then there is no consequences. It is a very like when a person is attached to the fruit of labor, he becomes the cause of his actions. And since he becomes the cause of action, each action carries an endless series of consequences, and far from all of them are good. Please understand this. Each action carries a series of consequences, and far from most of them, they are all not as good. So as soon as you are attached of action, he becomes the cause of his action. Otherwise, he's not. Only when you are attached, you are cause of action, and then we have to take the consequences. Please understand it. That's why Krishna is telling her, don't take Baba, you'll unnecessarily get. I need to pay a lot of things if I am taking the credit. Every day when we walk on the street, we have so many weapons of mass destruction in our house only. When you switch on the fire stove, you are killing the microbes around. When you are grinding, it's a machine which kills so many living entities. When you are walking, we kill living entities. When you drink water, we kill living entities. So in that way, we are killing so many living entities. So that means we does not even really so if we are attached to the fruits of labor, we become the cause. We have to pay for all these things. And like what happens is we have a good mechanism of oblivion. We forget what all we did. But Krishna does not forget. Krishna does not forget by definition. Therefore, there is a certain method in accordance with this memory. We will have to pay to all the activities we committed. So Krishna says the only right way to live in this world is not to pretend that I am not acting because I cannot but act. So, because I have understood very well that this world, not everything depends on me. Therefore, Krishna will explain this thing. So now he will explain that instead a person constantly feeding his own false ego with attachment or hostilities. So like there is one more nice story. This one story you hear, you'll understand a little more clearly. In a place, so person is swelling with his pride. You must understand one thing that this simple thing Krishna explains in that 18th chapter. There are five reasons. There is, but out of all the causes, Daiva is the most important cause. Now there is certain divine providence that is making all these things happen. The results of our work depends on this. So we can easily make sure that everything does not depend on me. Now, this one last story, of course, there are few more points, but this one will make you understand more clearly. Like it is said that, like we can take care of the child, we can keep the dust from the child and make him beautiful and all. But No, Balasya Sharano Pitaronsma. Prahlad says even the best of the daughters cannot save the child. It's not possible. Like there is, like these doctors. Okay, I'll come with this story. like there was once Janaka Maharaj. He's also called Videha. Videha means no body. Now, there was how can you call no body? Is having a body. What does it mean? Then not having a body. So then we deha. So there are two brahmanas in the village, and they wanted to test. They wanted to check how can he call me Videha? He's having a body, right? So what they do, they go to uh, Janak kingdom, and they are not actually having so much faith on Lord. So they go to this Janak Maharaj kingdom, and they directly, when there is a assembly, they asked, okay, we just wanted to check, how are you called Videha? One of the Brahmana friend he suggested, don't ask this, we cannot trust, especially the king and these people cannot be trusted, anything can happen. But he said, no, no, let us take a chance. So they go and ask Janaka Maharaj, how are you called Videha? And no, no body only. Then he says, okay, you made offense to me. Tomorrow morning, actually, Chanakya Pandit says that you cannot trust a king, and because their minds will change very fast. You cannot trust king, monkeys, and so many other things he gives. He says, okay, tomorrow morning you will be executed, your head be chopped. And then the both Brahmanas, they become tomorrow 10 o'clock, finish your last day. And they become so upset. Then they are taken into a nice chamber where they are given nice cushions and everything. And then they are brought with nice food, which gives them. And now they lost all their appetite because now they have only few hours remaining to survive. They bought best of the foods, nice samosas and whatever. And then whole night they could not sleep also. And morning when they got up, they were given nice hot water, golden bathtub, and then they were nicely other food, everything came. And they were praying to the Lord, my dear Lord, actually we did not serve you properly, we did not do anything. Please forgive us, please give us one more chance. And we don't know what will happen to our destiny. And we are all we are sinful, this, that. They started praying to Lord because they were not did previously. And then what happens is, then the next day morning, king comes. Then Kumara, they request him, "Arey, arey, please, you are a saintly person. No, please give us a chance and all." Then he says, "Okay, you will be you will be excused if you do this thing. And we give you two buckets of water, and you go around the kingdom, but not even one drop of water should fall. Then maybe you will be saved." So they saw it's a last hope, and they go, and a big capital city, they are going around with the buckets, and slowly there were three guards following them. So they slowly walked, and it took quite a few hours for them to complete the circumambulation of city. And at last they came, and they say, King, yes, we have performed. Not a single drop has slid from here. The king said, okay, but today it was a holiday. Did you see there was some people walking on the ropes, and there was some festival, this, that? They say we didn't see anything. We want to see that not a drop is falling on the ground. So it was like completely focused. We didn't have anything. All our consciousness in the bucket, because God forbid even one drop comes, we are finished. Then he said that then Mara says this is called Videha. Videha means because if I live in a luxury, Janak Maharaj says, I live this in a luxurious apartments. I enjoy this meal, and there are so many types of enjoyment, but I don't see it as a holiday. I am also alive. I live in luxury, but at the same time I do not enjoy it. I live in a city, at the same time all my thoughts are here, because I know that if I forget God for a moment, then in that same hour my death will come. That's what I feel. So without forgetting God at any moment, I am in this situation. So here I live, but at the same time always remember Krishna. I live in luxury, but at the same time understand that is just a decoration. What the main thing is not happening here. The main thing is happening in my heart. And Krishna says the same thing. Never consider yourself the cause of actions. Never become attached to the fruits of your labor. Never try to humiliate activity. Never try to become lazy. Do what you can do, but at the same time, you should be free from the fruits of your labor. Right. Some more points I'll add to make you more clear. So, this is actually how we need to learn to act in this world. Because there are five causes of reason. Daiva is the most important cause, but there is certain divine providence on which, in the end, all the results of our work depends. It is, you can we can say that okay, a person in illusion he thinks everything depends on me, and but it is not possible like that. Like I was telling this traumatologist, like the doctors, no, who especially treats the patients who met with an accident and they try to cure them. What happens is most of them, na, they tell one thing: it does not depend on me. Other fields of doctors, na, it is different. But especially this accident, with small minor accident, the patient may die, and somebody with very very major injuries, complicated case, hopeless case, and that fellow survives. That's why these people they immediately tell he's in coma, but he comes back and he goes home also, because now they understand that it's not just that is not, there is a main factor that is forgotten by people, that is daiva, the providence, the divine energy. And Krishna says the same thing. He reminds us of this. He says that if you are obsessed, blinded by the desire to enjoy the fruits of your labor, then you are the doer, then you forget about Krishna. That is the point. We wake up with a torment of death. This is the such a I forget everything, and especially when everything is fine with us, that time it is more difficult to remember Krishna. It says everything is going fine. So like when I don't succeed, then only I start blaming why Krishna is not doing anything for me. If we are successful, it's very difficult to remember. Sometimes people they pray, please Lord help me. But when everything is bad with us, that time they will begin to play. But everything is good, and it does not happen only. Therefore, Krishna says that if you forget me, then that is the worst thing that is happening to you. And you enjoying the fruits of your labor, then Krishna will explain to us the best way to live, the happiest way. We really are not responsible, and we are not awakened to the responsibility for the consequences of our action. Now, like uh, okay, we will. Any questions, comments till now? We will just take some purpose. So I'll just share the screen. Uh, I have some more things also. Maybe tomorrow I'll continue this topic. It's not ending. We can continue discussing. There are so many things to discuss in this topic. I will just summarize it tomorrow and add some more points. I know it is not so easy to understand in one go, but slowly, slowly we'll understand. We'll understand what mistake we are doing. That is very important. We need to know what is the mistake we are doing in our activity. Then we can rectify it. Without clarity, no, we are stuck up. This is it is not so easy. Why people? What happens is people they are thinking whatever we are doing is right. That is the problem because they should know. People you ask outside, what are you doing? They say we are doing karma yoga, and when we ask, we tell we are doing bhakti yoga. But we should know things very clearly. What is why? Otherwise, we make very fast progress. We make some mistakes. That's why the progress occurs. Now, actually, these are all very interesting things that Sukadeva Goswami is explaining about creation. This is how our desire that I am the doer goes away by this. Because if you see this sloka, what Krishna is not Sukadeva Goswami, when there is a desire to think about activity of his own energy, then the heart, the seat of mind, the moon, the determination of all desires become manifest. Prabhupada is nice purport. The heart of every living entity is the seat of Supersoul Paramatma, a plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without his presence, the living entity cannot get into the working energy according to his past deeds. See, only Lord will make. The living entity who are conditioned in the material world are manifested in the creation in terms of respect to inclination inherent in them, and the requisite metal body is offered to each and every one of them by the material energy under the direction of Super Soul. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita 9. When, therefore, the Super Soul is situated in the heart of conditioned soul, the requisite mind is manifested in the conditioned soul, and he becomes conscious of his occupation as one of the consequences of his duty after waking up from slumber. Therefore, the material mind of the living entity develops when the supersoul sits on his heart, after which the mind, the controlling entity, move, and then the activity of mind, namely thinking, feeling, and willing, all take place. The activity of mind cannot be without the manifestation of the heart, and the heart becomes manifested when Lord want to see the activities of material creation. So it's such a complicated connection is there. First, what happens is Lord want to see the activities of material creation. Then what happens? Heart will come. Only heart comes, then mind will come. And mind comes, then the controlling deity of mind also come. So this is how the things manifest. And we are thinking, oh, everything is in my control. No, no. Material mind of living entity develops when the super soul sits in the heart. After which the mind, the controlling deity moon, then the activity of mind, namely thinking, feeling, all takes place. But the activities of mind cannot begin without manifestation of heart. And that heart begins when Lord want to see the activities of mental creation, like that. So that is how everything is connected. Connected means it starts from the Lord only. Lord want to see, that's why we are having some opportunity. If Lord says, no, I don't want to see any activity of mental creation, finish. We are in his body in a hibernate state. We cannot do anything. He has to desire, that's why we are getting opportunity to do something. If he does not, then there is no hope only for us. It's not possible. All the energy I am speaking coming from Lord, the energy to understand it coming from the Lord, the mind to speak about coming from the Lord. Everything is his desire only. What the soul is doing? Prabhupada writing that the soul, this is nice point, the super soul is situated in the heart of the conditioned soul, and requisite mind is manifest in the conditions, and he becomes conscious of his occupation as one is conscious of his duty after waking up from slumber. So we only become conscious then only when we are from the Mahavishnu's body we become little conscious. We say, oh, maybe I have to do so, like that. And it says the seven elements of the body, namely the thin layer of skin, the skin itself, flesh, blood, fat, marrow, and bone, are all made of earth, water, fire, whereas the life breath is product of the sky, water, and air. So this also we have discussed. The five elements, now they are there in everything. Like if you take hydrogen, what people think hydrogen is air. It's not like that. Hydrogen, if you take the molecule of the hydrogen, atom of hydrogen, in that hydrogen, there is the electrons, that is the earth element, and the ability for it to hold each other, that is actually the water element, and the ability, the energy between them is the fire element, and it is able to flow in some place, that is air element, and then it is occupying some place, that is space. That means in hydrogen, which we are thinking air, all the five elements are there, and when we remove that energy between the two uh, atoms, then that causes the bomb because the fire is released. That's how it is. So here also, all these, if you skin only, you see everything is there. There is earth, water, fire. Of course, it is not so easy to understand. It is quite difficult also. But we have to know that what we think of earth, water, fire, air, that is not what is mentioned as earth, water, fire here. That's the main point I want to tell. The construction of the whole material world is predominantly made of three elements, namely earth, water, and fire. But the life force is produced by sky, air, and water, the prana. So water is a common element in both the gross and subtle form of all material creation. That means in subtle also there is water. So this is not the water what we are seeing. Water element is there in all the atoms like that. And it should be noted here with that due to necessity, water being most prominent in metal creation is the principal element of all the five. This metal body is thus an embodiment of five elements. The gross manifestation is pursued because of three, namely earth, water, and fire. Sensation of touch are pursued due to the thin layer of skin, and bone is as good as hard stone. The breathing air of life is produced of sky, air, and water. So our what we are taking the air, it is all three products. Therefore, open air, regular bath, and ample space in which to live are favorable for healthy vitality. Fresh produce from the earth like grains and vegetables, as well as fresh water and heat, is good for the upkeep of gross body. So Prabhupada is giving such nice, valuable points for us. What all we need for good health is healthy vitality also. That means for growing, open air, regular bath, and ample space. Now exactly this is opposite in the cities. They don't have open space, and especially the working boys, if they are not married, I don't know about girls, but I know about boys. Regular bath don't happen. Even if they wake up at 9 o'clock, they just brush their teeth, wash their face, apply some deodorant, go and eat. They go to office like that, and evening they will bath. Sometime if they are busy, they will skip that bath also in 2 3 days. So, and if especially it is very cold, then forget about it. So, and ample space, that is not possible only because whole city there is no space only. Everybody want in the city. Hardly people, they think that their apartment is little open space, but it is not that much open because it is city. Very few people in the city have little open space. Behind house is there, side house, this side, in the front there is no courtyard. In the villages is actually, you can say, open space because in the front of house you have place, behind the house you have place, and in between the houses also there is so much place. Anyway, so we'll choose next one. The sense organs are attached to the modes of material nature. Yeah, this is also a nice point. The sense organs are attached to modes of material nature, and the modes of material nature are products of false ego. The mind is subjected to all kinds of material experiences, happiness and distress, and the intelligence is the feature of mind's deliberation. See, intelligence is also mind. So that's why what word you use, buddhi, is not intelligence, because intelligence is feature of mind. If you say mind as manas, then this intelligence. So that's why in English, what words you use for manas, buddhi, and chitta is Manas is actually subconscious mind, and buddhi is conscious mind, and chitta is unconscious mind. So then these terms will match. That's why. Illusioned by material nature, the living entity identifies with false ego. More clearly, so we have discussed this. More clearly, when the living entity is entrapped by the material body, he at once identifies with the body relationship, forgetting his own identity as spirit soul. This false ego associated with different modes of material nature, and thus the senses become attached to modes of material nature. Mind is the instrument for feeling different material experiences, but intelligence is deliberate, deliberative and can change everything for better. This is actually buddhi works here. If you want to change, if you change our buddhi, then we are a different person. That's what Krishna is telling Dadami Buddhi. I give the buddhi. And Krishna is telling Buddhi Yukta. You take help of buddhi. So when we are reading Shastras, what we are doing? We are trying to acquire buddhi. The intelligent person therefore can attain salvation from illusion of material existence by proper use of intelligence. So here it is buddhi. An intelligent person can detect the awkward position of mental existence, thus began to inquire as to what he is, why he is subject to different kind of miseries, and how to get rid of all misery. Thus, by good association, an advanced intelligent person can turn towards a better life of self-realization. Now we may say, Array, what the scientists do they don't have buddhi? No, they, they have, but it is not actually the awakened buddhi. It is just dull, which is only helping them to understand what is matter. They don't have that spiritual acumen. That is a problem with them. It is advised, therefore, that an intelligent person associates with great sages and saints who are on the path of salvation. But such association, one can receive instructions which are able to slacken the conditioned soul's attachment for matter, and thus the intelligent man gradually gets rid of the illusion of matter and false ego and is promoted to the real life of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So we are discussing this false ego. So we'll continue from this sloka from tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Any questions, comments on this till now? Okay, we'll end. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki